Hello and welcome to the third installment of Becoming Familiar with Moodle at the University of Providence. In this installment, we're going to be talking about taking quizzes and the best practice there. We're going to be talking about how to check your grades and how to interpret what you find in the grade book. And then we're going to also point out how feedback is provided in the Moodle platform. So before I actually step down to talk about the quizzes, I want to point out that I noticed that I have a message up here. And so I've gotten a response. So I'm going to click in that message thread, and it shows up here that I've got a new one unread. And so I'll click on it, and here is the instructor's response back to me, telling me that she's got office hours posted in the syllabus. So if I call her on the office phone on Friday afternoon, we can visit then about my concerns about the project. So great. All right. Well, I'm going to click to get back into the course here, and here I am. Oh, wait a minute, I also noticed that where I have my self-introductions, I have one unread post. So actually, Moodle will keep track of posts that I haven't read yet. That doesn't count my own, because obviously when I created it, I read it. So this is a new post. So I'm going to click on the forum to get into it, and then I see that there's a reply here, and I actually see who the reply is from. Minnie Mouse, the instructor, has replied to my introduction. So I'm going to click on my introduction, and then I'm going to see the reply nested under the thread of the message. So this is basically how forums will work. The replies will come nested under the original posting. So I noticed, first of all, that I got 5 points so far on my participation in this self-introduction, and here's the reply that Minnie posted. If somebody were to reply to her, it would be nested and indented underneath that. And so you can follow a whole message thread in this discussion forum. And if the topic is interesting and people are doing their homework, you will see long message threads that have a lot to learn from each other, because we're sharing our understandings as we work through the course together. All right, I'm going to come out of where I am by clicking back in the breadcrumb trail on the course number, and that's what allows us to scroll down to find our sample quiz. And here's quiz 1. I'm actually taking it in advance because it's something I want to make sure you understand how quizzes work. So when I click on it, it will basically tell me that I have 2 attempts to complete this quiz, and that the highest grade is the one that's going to be going into the grade book. It tells me when the quiz opens. It also tells me when the quiz will close. And then it also tells me the time limit that I have. Now this is a brief, I think, 6-question quiz, so there's only 10 minutes involved here. But I'm going to go ahead and attempt the quiz now. But I'm going to caution you. When you are taking an online quiz, once you start it, it is a secured connection. It's being encrypted, and it's also tracking where you are attempting this from. So if you get disconnected in the middle of the quiz for some reason, let's say you're taking a long quiz that's 50 questions, and you get halfway through it, 25 questions, and then you get disconnected, and so you go to a better internet connection, you try to log in and finish the quiz, it won't let you in, because that's a security violation. You're trying to complete the quiz, or somebody is trying to complete the quiz that was started, interrupted, and then starts from another. How do they know that it isn't somebody trying to hack into your quiz attempt? So you're prevented from doing that. The only way, if you get disconnected, the only way for you to finish that quiz is for you to contact the instructor or contact me, Jim Gretsch, as the Moodle administrator, and I will have to reset the quiz, losing all 25 answers, because I have to delete the previous one in order to reopen it for you. So The moral of the story is only take an online quiz from a stable internet connection. If you have the opportunity to plug in using an Ethernet cable and do it wired, that is a more stable connection than you would get doing it via wireless or Wi-Fi. I wouldn't trust Starbucks or other public Wi-Fi hotspots. I certainly wouldn't try to take it on a cell phone, in a car, traveling. Because if you drop calls under those conditions, you will probably drop your quiz connection. And I have had tearful phone calls from students who got locked out of a final exam on the last day to take it because they were literally traveling in a car and tried to do it on a cell phone. That is not an example of a stable internet connection. So do not make that same mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and start the attempt. When we go into it, we'll notice that we have the countdown timer up in the corner. We will see that 3 questions out of a total of 6 are displaying. This will actually show you your progress as you make it through. So the first question is, you're currently using Blackboard as your LMS. False, we're using Moodle as the LMS. Match the following countries with their corresponding capitals. And this question was worth 1 point. This one's worth 5 points because there's 5 points possible here. So I am going to select Ottawa for Canada. I'm going to select Rome for Italy, Tokyo for Japan, New Delhi for India, and Berlin for Germany. The sun rises in the east. I believe that is true. Now I'm going to go to the next page, the next 3. See how it shows I've completed 3 and now I'm currently working on the next 3. How comfortable are you with Moodle now? I'm actually very comfortable. This seems pretty intuitive. Which of the following is the name of the UGF mascot, which actually is now the University of Providence mascot? So I'm going to contact the instructor and ask her to update that question. I know that it is actually Jason and the Argonauts. So Jason's the name of the mascot, and Grant is buried in Grant's tomb. I think that's probably true, although I hesitate, but I'm going to try it because it seems like a no-brainer, so I'm a little unsure. I'm going to finish the attempt. It basically has said I've saved these answers. You can return and try to edit it, or you can come back and finish it. I'm going to submit all and finish. And basically, that Grant's tomb, I knew that was going to get me. So basically it shows I got 9 out of 10 points, or a 90% on that quiz. It shows me which ones are correct. It also shows me which one's incorrect. Okay, so now I can try to take it a second time if I want to, or I can go in and check my grades. So I'm going to access my grades by coming back to the top part of the course, and then here is a shortcut to my grades right here in the navigation menu under the course. So I'm going to click to see my grades currently. And we'll have a brief conversation about this. So there's the 5 points that I've gotten on the self-introduction, and then notice the next 2 forums are 10 points each, so they're actually a little meatier because we're going to be talking about actual content instead of just introducing ourselves. The quiz, I got a 9 out of 10, so that's a 90%, and then I haven't done any papers so far. So, and yet I want to point out here that I've got 14.25 out of 15 possible points. And yet I look in the course, and when I go back and look at the syllabus, I realize that there's actually 235 points possible in this course. So I recognize now, as a student who cares about my grade, I'm not actually going to get a 95% in this course if I quit doing anything now. I recognize that Minnie, as an instructor, has configured this to only calculate this percentage based on completed items. It's ignoring empty items that haven't been taken yet. So basically, I currently have completed 14.25 out of 15 points. but there's really 235 points, so I'm not really getting a 95. If I quit and said I got an A, I don't need to do anything more. When Minnie comes in and puts zeros in each of these items, that will mean that I've probably only got 14 points out of 235. I'm failing miserably. So don't make an assumption based on this number down here. Make an assumption on looking at how much you have completed and realize that these grades and these percentages are on what you've done so far, not on the entire course. And if you have questions, consult the syllabus and then reach out to your instructor for a clarification so that you don't get 2/3 of the way through the course and say, I wanted to be on this course. I've got a good solid B right now, so I'm not going to do the final project and the final exam because I don't need to. I already got a B. Wrong decision. Bad life choice, because when the zeros go in for those two items, you will end up with a D or possibly failing when it comes through. So that's our initial discussion. We'll revisit this one more time next session so that you really understand the impact of the gradebook. But now you know where to go to access the gradebook, you know how to take an online quiz, and you know how to look for feedback from your instructor. And I'll see you again for the 4th session.